Hi, everyone. This is Amy Major. I just wanted to continue with my video series. I'm teaching more about rescue mediumship and spirit rescue. Happy to be here and see all of you. I wanted to talk a little bit today about guiding light and how we can help earthbound spirits cross into the light, or what a lot of people call crossing over. It's a great analogy. We don't really use it as much in spirit rescue. We like to actually use more the term of transition into the light or to a higher plane of consciousness and awareness. But use whatever term analogy fits you and your lifestyle and your belief system. It's all the same thing when it comes to helping rescuing earthbound spirits. I've been helping earthbound spirits transition into light for over 25 years, and I dedicate a lot of my time to helping other mediums learn how to do the same. And I think there's many people in the public that are also trying to understand more about rescue mediumship. So in my last video, I did teach a little bit about what an earthbound spirit is. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we actually help these earthbound spirits cross into the light. And it really does determine whether the earthbound spirit is ready to cross into light or not. Every spirit is different. They're all very personal situations. So we take it with caution and care and concern for that earthbound spirit. But let's just say, as an example, that the spirit is ready to cross into the light. They're aware that they have passed. They know that they're not where they're supposed to be, or they're in a location or a situation that makes them feel disconnected from their angels, their guides, their family members, and the light. So we communicate with them to help them detach from their attachments, whatever it is that's keeping them earthbound. And when they feel ready to move toward the light, that is actually a great way to stimulate the light itself. The earthbound spirit sends off energy, and in that energy, it's like a beacon. That beacon then projects out to the spirit world the eagerness, the excitement, and the intention of the earthbound spirit to actually make the full transition to higher states or higher planes of consciousness, which we call the lighter heaven. As an earthbound spirit, sometimes these spirits come to us, they have that intention, but they haven't quite made the adjustment to their vibration or frequency to initiate the response from the white light. So what we do as rescue mediums is we initiate that beacon ourselves with the help of the energy of the earthbound spirit. When we do that, the white light then appears. There are some techniques that we do to initiate that response from the light. One of those is just to imagine a door to the light, a door to heaven. And when I teach this with my students, many of them have actually come with some really great ideas. Some have seen like an old rustic barn door, and that bar door starts to creak open, and then you see this beautiful white light appearing. Some students have actually seen like traditional gates to heaven, and those gates start opening, and this beautiful golden light appears from beyond, and that's their way of initiating that door. My door is just a burst of white light. I imagine a beautiful spark of light from the other side. When I ask the white light to appear, I set intention with the energy of the earthbound spirit, and the white light appears, but then I ask for a shepherd or guide, an angel, sometimes a family member, to stand at that white light to then guide the earthbound spirit through the light into the area in which they need to be to make the full transition. See, the door is just an opening, a crack through dimensions. And when the spirit walks into the higher form of that dimension, they can then go where they need to go to make the full transition process. So opening up a door to the other side is more of an intention, a stimulation of energy, and sending love to the white light, asking that the white light then appears to us. There are other ways to help a spirit guide into the light. And a really great way, and one of my favorite ways, is to actually ask for one of their family members to step forward and guide that spirit however they feel is necessary, and the best way and the best technique to do that. So I'll talk to the earthbound spirit and I'll ask them, well, who do you miss? Who would you love to see from the light, or who would you love to see from heaven? And they'll sometimes come up with someone like, oh, I haven't seen my grandfather, or, my mom's there. I'd really love to see my mom. How many of us would love to see a parent that's in the light guide us ourselves into light and feel that warm embrace of that family reunion? And it really works. It really does, because that earthbound spirit has been feeling alone, feeling kind of stuck, feeling like they've just been wandering without any real help or any love to kind of guide them. So when you bring in a family member that they embrace with love and gratitude and joy, and you can really feel the presence of God's love right there with two individual souls. And when the family member comes through, though, quite often they'll look at me and they'll thank me for making that connection. And a lot of people ask, well, can't the earthbound spirit do that themselves? Of course they can. But they don't know how, and they don't know that they can. See, once you have something in your awareness, you can do it. But when it's beyond your awareness and you're kind of feeling stuck in your own fears, your trauma, it's hard to be able to see beyond that. So a rescue medium is there to change the perspective of the earthbound spirit, get them to understand what they are fully capable of doing, bring in a family member that they are capable of, but we're just providing that extra assistance and that guidance at that time. And then the family member will then guide the spirit into the light, because the spirit's now eager to follow them into the light as well. When a spirit isn't exactly sure who they'd like to talk to, or maybe they don't have a family member, or maybe they just don't recognize anyone that comes through, but say they have, oh, I've got my dog, or I've got my cat, or I have my bunny that I haven't seen in years, we will sometimes bring one of their pets through, because nothing's better than a pet's love and that unconditional love that comes with it. So sometimes a pet will come through. I've seen so many dogs come through like, oh, follow me, follow me. And it really works a lot with children. Children trust animals a little bit more than they trust people. And I get that. So when we bring an animal through, they will help guide them into light, and then we feel that reassurance and we feel that completion when that spirit does move into that higher plane. Another way that we can help them is to bring in a guide, to bring in an angel. Sometimes the energy and the presence of that angel and guide can be enough to reassure the earthbound spirit that help is there and that they can be trusted and they can move into the light. Many times, a lot of students will reach out. They're like, Amy, I connected them to their guide, and in like a matter of like 5 seconds, the spirit was ready to move into light. Why is that? And I always say, look, our time is different than spirit time. When a guide comes through or an angel comes through, it may only seem like seconds to us, or even minutes, depending on how stubborn the earthbound spirit is. But in that moment, beyond our time, the guide and the angel can have a full conversation with the spirit, ease their fears and their anxiety, reassure them, get them to go through maybe even a mini life review at that moment, and reassure them that moving into light is what's best for them. All of that can happen in an instant. And what may seem like a very short time to us is just normal for them. And many of us feel like, oh, we have to have a conversation. It takes so long. Not in spirit. In spirit, it's instantly. And so what may seem like only moments is a lifetime to them. And when they do find that reassurance, they quickly move into the light. Now, sometimes spirits, they don't really want to move into light, and it just seems a little odd to kind of walk towards a door. Some spirits need a little bit more scenery, a little bit more stimulation. So actually creating a place in the astral realm through visualization can also be done. We can visualize a field with a beautiful white light door at the end of the field, or an ascending staircase a white glowing staircase, marble floor, a little bit of golden light, and a beautiful door at the top of the stairs. And that could be enough to make the earthbound spirit feel like they're moving towards a destination. Other mediums have been known to, like, okay, let me bring in a bus or a car or a train or something of mode of transportation, because we view modes of transportation as ways to get to a destination. So quite often, if we have many earthbound spirits that need to move into light, quite often a lot of these mediums will, visualize a mode of transportation to get them there. Whatever way works most efficiently for the earthbound spirit or spirits is what we plan on using. There's no one size fits all. All earthbound spirits are different. And again, this is after the earthbound spirit has already somewhat healed, been able to talk about their problems, got whatever it is they needed off their chest, feel reassured, and have finally made the choice to move into light. There are many spirits that after we've counseled them, they're still not ready to go. We can't force them into light. That goes beyond their free will. It goes beyond our scope of work. I have heard of other rescue mediums that, like, you just need to go into light. They kind of force that. That actually goes against our practices. In spirit rescue, we can never force any spirits into light. It must be at their own free will, their choice. If they aren't ready to go into light, we can find other places. Remember, we created that astral place, that beautiful field or the ascending staircase. We can also create scenes in the astral plane where they can go to rest. And they can move into those projected astral spaces because they're now real, because we visualize them to be real. It gets really advanced, but it does really work. We can also call in what I like to call a travel guide. This travel guide is a guide that will come through and guide the earthbound spirit wherever they want to be to find resolution. A lot of them actually want to go on vacation. Like, I've never been to Europe, or I want to go to Disney World. So the travel guide will actually come through and guide them to these locations until the earthbound spirit is ready to make their final transition. And that's perfectly fine too. We don't ever want to force a spirit beyond their time. It must be through their choice, and they must be ready, because any type of forceful approach just doesn't create the right energy to get them into a place of healing and love. So we want to make sure they're reassured with that. There are many, many other ways that we can help the earthbound spirit, but these are just a few typical ways that we help guide them into the light. If you have any questions at all about, how can you help spirits into light, please reach out, ask. And if you have a different technique of helping spirits into light, put your comments down. I'd love to hear of them. We're always trying to learn of different ways to help spirits into the light with ease, with love, with reassurance and confidence, so that they know they're getting the help that they need. Please reach out if you have any questions. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.